how many years am I willing to commit to achieving true financial freedom? And for me, I was 30 years old. I said, okay, I'm going to give myself 10 years. Hit that goal when I was 36 years old.
You have a very similar background to me in that you spent a lot of time knocking on doors. Most people are afraid to do that. Most parents deter their kids from doing that because almost everybody fails at it.
Yeah.
Would you trade that experience for anything?
No, it changed my life, man. It was so formative for me. So I went out to Chicago, and I knew it was going to be hard. Like I 100% knew it was going to be challenging, but went out to Chicago, which is like the exact opposite of where I grew up in Utah, right? It's like small little town. And also I'm in Chicago. And dude, 85% of our team quit. By the middle of the summertime, one of my roommates actually got shot. Somebody sniped him in the leg with a .22 caliber. Damn. Just knocking, So at that point, then everybody quit. Besides, there were four of us.
Hold on. So you knocked on a door, or he knocked on a door, and somebody shot him.
Well, supposedly he like said something to kind of pissed off a homeowner. And then he was walking down the street, and so they took a small caliber rifle and shot him in the left calf. And so it's Chicago, man. It was a pretty crazy time. So, yeah, so I thought about quitting, and frankly, I thought about quitting every day. I mean, probably every hour. It was such a hard, challenging job. But I stuck through, and I finished really strong. I ended up making $31,000, which to this day was the most life-changing money I've ever made. It's more than my parents ever made. It was more than, I had like limiting belief systems, right? And I thought that was a lot. The next year I came back as a sales manager, made $157,000, which broke all these limiting beliefs, right? Like if you asked me as a kid, like if I played all my cards right and everything worked out perfectly, I'd be like, best case scenario, maybe make $100,000 in a year, right? And so it's kind of how I grew up and, the environment that I was in. And so making that was incredible, man. I came back the next year, made over $250,000, and then next year over $500,000, and then over $1 million, and just started to grow this and parlay it. But I look back in hindsight, if I would have quit like almost everybody did, it would have completely changed the trajectory of my life. And so I'm so grateful for having the foresight to be able to stay there. And I think what really helped me, Brad, was I realized, hey, this is really challenging, but when you do hard things, that's where personal growth comes from. I knew I was going to become better. And it's all those soft skills too. It's the communication. It's the mental fortitude. It's the psychology. It's all these little soft skills that you learned along the way. They really, even today running a real estate firm, a lot of those same skill sets are very, very relevant to what I do today.
I feel the same way about Vector Marketing and Cutco. Like it was the foundation of not only business in my life, but basically everything in my life, because it taught me how to effectively communicate with people. It taught me ownership of my outcomes, taught me how to schedule, taught me why relationships were of value. I mean, everything. It was a huge foundational thing for me.
Leadership. I'd say is probably the most valuable.
Well, you were in management, so you learned leadership through that process, right? And I learned some version of leadership as being like a top salesperson, but it's very different than going through the management path, right? So like Justin Donald went down the management path in Vector and Cutco. And so that was a big thing for him. For me, I had to fall on my fucking face quite a bit to be any sort of mediocre manager in the first place. And now I'm navigating through that. But yeah, definitely. So you got that from direct sales. How did that move into real estate? At what point? Because I think that these moments are really important, not only for sort of the W-2 community, the employee community that's trying to move to the next thing, but I think it's also really important for business owners that are looking at the next thing, whether it's an investment or it's the next venture. How did you look at the jump into diving into real estate? Yeah,
that's a great question. So I think it's very valuable for your listeners. For me personally, like I never enjoyed knocking doors. It was always a means to an end. And so for me, it was, and this is really what separated me from most of my peer group, was I was aggressively taking that active income that I was making from commissions and deploying that into passive income real estate. And I started doing that early on. I went to my CPA after that second year, made $157,000. And I went to my CPA. I'm like, hey, what are all your wealthy clients doing to help mitigate taxes? Right. And, cause I felt like I was wealthy, right? And he's like, well, they're either buying businesses or buying real estate. I was like, okay, real estate sounds cool. I know nothing about it, but I'm going to become a student of the game of real estate. And so I just started soaking it all in, man, getting proximity to guys that were doing it and trying to learn as much as I can, read all the books on it. And,
what'd you read?
Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki is one of the best ones. The Real Estate Bible was good. There was Joe Fairless, the best ever apartment syndication book was big, because eventually I started to raise money from other people and help, bring them in, my friends, my family, whatnot, into it. But kind of slowing down the story a little bit though. So he's like, real estate. So like, okay, cool. And so I just started aggressively putting money into that. And most guys are buying, new trucks, Wayrunners, new boats, new rims, like depreciating assets. And so I started getting this cash flow going. And I fell in love with this journey of just creating as much possible cash flow as possible. And I'll never forget this. I sat down on a Sunday one time and I was like, okay, I've been talking about passive income for a long time, financial freedom, but I want to actually commit to creating true financial freedom. So I spent 4 hours on a spreadsheet and I came up with what I call the financial freedom equation. And it's really simple. I'll share. So you basically just quantify what is your total cost of living. So all in, car payments, gas, insurance, housing, whatever else, right? So let's, as an example, say it's $200,000. The next line item on the spreadsheet is, well, how much passive income do I have right now? Let's say you have 50,000 coming in from a townhome or some dividend stocks or whatever else. The next line item is, what's the gap? So in that situation, it's $150,000. And the next line item is, well, how many years am I willing to commit to achieving true financial freedom? And for me, I was 30 years old. I said, okay, I'm going to give myself 10 years. And so then as a real estate guy, I'm like, okay, well, how many rental properties do I need to have to be able to create that $200,000 of passive income? And the answer was 40 rental properties. And so my goal became 40 by 40. So 40 rental properties by age 40. And I just got hyper focused on that, man. Like all my passwords, is all 40 by 40. My screensaver on my phone, 40 by 40. And I just got super focused on that, man. Every Sunday I sit down and measure that. And there's real power in having something in writing like that. They say you're 42% more likely to hit a goal if it's in writing. But being able to go back and see those incremental improvements and the accountability was really powerful for me. Hit that goal when I was 36 years old.